On a farm out in the country lived a man, a woman, and their 3 sons. Early one morning, the woman awoke, and while looking out of the window onto the pasture, she saw that the family's only cow was lying dead in the field. The situation looked hopeless to her. How could she possibly continue to feed her family now? In a depressed state of mind, she hung herself. When the man awoke to find his wife dead as well as the cow, he too began to see the hopelessness of the situation, and he shot himself in the head. Now the oldest son woke up to discover his parents dead, and the cow, and he decided to go down to the river and drown himself. When he got to the river, he discovered a mermaid sitting on the bank. She said, "I've seen all and know the reason for your despair. But if you will have sex with me 5 times in a row, then I will restore your parents and the cow to you." The son agreed to try, but after 4 attempts, he was simply unable to get it up again. So the mermaid drowned him in the river. Next, the second oldest son woke up. After discovering what had happened, he too decided to throw himself into the river. The mermaid said to him, "If you will have sex with me 10 times in a row, then I will make everything right." And while the son tried his best 7 times, it was not enough to satisfy the mermaid, so she drowned him in the river. The youngest son woke up and saw his parents dead, the dead cow in the field, and his brothers gone. He decided that life was a hopeless prospect, and he went down to the river to throw himself in. And there, he also met the mermaid. "I have seen all that has happened, and I can make everything right if you will only have sex with me 15 times in a row." The young son replied, "Is that all? Why not 20 times in a row?" The mermaid was somewhat taken aback by this request. Then he said, "Hell, why not 25 times in a row?" And even as she was reluctantly agreeing to his request, he said, "Why not 30 times in a row?" Finally she said, "Enough. Okay, if you will have sex with me 30 times in a row, then I will bring everybody back to perfect health." Then the young son asked, "Wait, how do I know that 30 times in a row won't kill you like it did the cow?" Ops. A doctor gets called to the hospital in the middle of the night. As it's an emergency and the highway is completely empty at this time of night, he's going a little over the speed limit. Suddenly, he sees blue lights fire up behind him, and he's pulled over. The cop approaches the car and says, "Do you know how fast you were going?" "About 5 miles an hour," says the doctor. "Sorry. I'm a doctor, and one of my patients has taken a turn for the worse, so I'm rushing to the hospital." "The rules are the rules," replies the cop. "I've got to give you a ticket." The cop starts writing it out and, as he does, asks, "What kind of doctor are you anyway?" "I'm an asshole stretcher," says the doctor. "One of the best, actually." "You're a what?" says the baffled cop, looking up from the ticket. "Yeah, if they need an asshole stretched, they come to me. I can easily get them 2 to 3 feet wide. Some I've got up to 6 feet. "What the hell do you do with a 6-foot asshole?" asks the incredulous cop. "You get him to stop people going 5 miles an hour over the limit at 3 a.m. Ops. The CIA was recruiting new agents. As a test of commitment, they brought a man to a door and gave him a gun. He was told his wife was in the next room, and his first test was to go in and shoot her. The man was shocked and said he would never shoot his wife for anyone. He was sent home. A second man was brought to the same room and told the same thing as the first. He was very sad because he always wanted to be a CIA agent, but there was no way he could shoot his wife. He too was sent home. The third person brought to the room was a housewife. She was told that her husband was in the next room. She was given the gun and told to go in and shoot her husband. She took the gun and went in. Very quickly, there was a lot of commotion in the room. A man began screaming, and very quickly, the housewife came out of the room covered in blood. "What happened?" they asked her. "There were no bullets in the gun, so I had to beat him to death with a chair," she said. Ops.
A gynecologist had become fed up with malpractice insurance and paperwork and was burned out. long. Hoping to try another career where skilled hands would be beneficial, he decided to become a mechanic. He went to the local technical college, signed up for evening classes, attended diligently, and learned all he could. When the time for the practical exam approached, the gynecologist prepared carefully for weeks and completed the exam with tremendous skill. When the results came back, he was surprised to find that he had obtained a score of 150%. Fearing an error, he called the instructor, saying, "I don't want to appear ungrateful for such an outstanding result, but I wonder if there is an error in the grade." The instructor said, "During the exam, you took the engine apart perfectly, which was worth 50% of the total mark. You put the engine back together again perfectly, which is also worth 50% of the mark." After a pause, the instructor added, "I gave you an extra 50% because you did it all through the exhaust, which I've never seen done in my entire career." Oops. An accountant leaves a letter for his wife one Friday evening. "Dear wife, you have been a wonderful companion to me all these years. I can't believe that both of us are already 60. Time sure has flown by. However, I am writing this letter to share something that has been bothering me for a while. I have a few needs that you have been unable to satisfy lately. So I would be spending some time today at the Grand Hotel with my 20-year-old secretary. She is beautiful and sexy. Please don't wrongly interpret this. I love you." Later that evening, the hotel staff handed over a letter to the accountant, which read, "Dear husband, I am glad that you still love me and have written this letter in all honesty. Honestly, I am relieved to know your thoughts on my needs. I would also like to inform you that by the time you read this letter, I will be at the Fiesta Hotel with a student of mine. He is young, virile, and, coincidentally, a 20-year-old too. Please don't take it otherwise. Oh, and being the wonderful accountant you are, you will also appreciate that 20 goes into 60 many more times than 60 goes into 20. I love you too. Ops."
My daughter woke me up. My daughter woke me around 11:50 last night. "Daddy," she whispered, tugging my shirt sleeve. "Guess how old I'm going to be next month?" "I don't know," I said as I slipped on my glasses. "How old?" She smiled and held up 4 fingers. "It is 7:30 now. My wife and I have been up with her for almost 8 hours. She still refuses to tell us where she got them." Ops. Thank you for watching. Please follow me for more jokes and stay happy.